if you're going through a hard time in your life, like that is the starting point. That can be the starting point of something phenomenal, because I didn't have anything to lose at that point. Like I had already lost everything. So I already lost like the girlfriend. I lost the job. I was flat broke, had no money. I was like, at this point now I can start building.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Everything is Influence podcast, where again, we go through the 4 levels of influence. And today we have an amazing guest I've had the honor to know for a few years now, and I've seen him level up in many ways. We're going to break it all down today. Remember, the 4 levels of influence are: 1, how you influence yourself. So how did this man become who he is? What have been the influences in his life? How's he transferred that through sales, through communication to other people in a one-to-one and then a one-to-many context? And now where this man is at on his way to legendary influence. And again, that is when you are able to influence when you're no longer there, because your presence and your power and your values have been instilled into other people. So you're building something that lasts when you're not there babysitting, when you can have a real business and have a real life. And so it's with great pleasure that I introduce Mr. Brian Mark. How are you, buddy?
Dude, I'm doing awesome. That's a great intro. I feel like I need to update my intro for my podcast now. That is really, really good. Thanks for having me on, bro. I'm excited to be here.
It's everybody I talk to. I'm going to do Dan Martell. I got everybody's busy. And so I'm just like, they're like, well, we got 30 minutes. I'm just like, go with it. I'll put the context into place and you'll see where we're going in about 30 seconds. So that's for the viewers, but it's also for the viewer of one that I have right here in front of me. So that's where we're going.
The busy people, it's the time. Time is value for sure.
Yeah. So I've had some awesome guests, and it's been interesting to see your journey.
Yeah.
I met you. We had heard of each other through our buddy Frank.
Yep.
And I saw you in Taki Moore's group. Yep. And I walked in late, and I happened to sit in that back kind of right-hand corner. Yep. And you were at my table. Yep. And we connected and we were talking, and I was like, man, this guy has a lot of energy. This guy's got some big dreams, and he's making some bold claims. And here it is, like 3-4 years later now. Yeah. And you have done it, my friend. So for all of our listeners here, kind of break down so usually here's how we do it, because you're already so established. Yeah. We're going to kind of go with, what are you up to now? Like, what's your business? What do you do? And we're going to reverse engineer how you got from where you were to where you are through these levels of influence. So cool. What are you up to now in the world?
Cool. So my name's Brian Mark. I'm a business coach for online fitness coaches. We have the #1 business coaching program for online coaches on the market, period. And we've got the most social proof. We have the most clients. We have the best results. We have the biggest podcast. My entire mission, my kind of claim to fame, is I help online trainers get to $10,000 a month. I feel like everybody says that now, but we've helped 216 online coaches. We have a list of every single person that we've helped to $10,000 a month. So right now we're working with over 1,300 students in our level 1 coaching program. My business is making around $500,000 to $600,000 a month with online coaching. And yeah, it's been like a 2.5 year journey. I remember when I first met you, Eli, I had, I think, about 50 clients. And the reason I was sitting at the back of the room is because this was my first time ever meeting Taki and, the mentorship program. And I didn't really know what to expect / who was going to be there / I just kind of felt uncomfortable. And so I sat at the back of the room because I was like, I'm just going to sit back here and watch and absorb. And then I followed Tony Robbins forever. I followed Tony Robbins since I was 15. And I remember when you got introduced and somebody was like, "That's Eli Wild." I'm like, "Who's that?" He's like, "That's the guy." He's like, "That's Tony Robbins' #1 sales guy ever in the history of Tony Robbins." I was like, "No, it's fucking not." And then when we started talking, I was like, "I can't believe I'm talking to somebody that is the #1 sales guy for Tony Robbins." So yeah, that's a little bit of backstory, dude. And my side of meeting you, as I was psyched that you were sitting at my table. I was like, I cannot believe I'm talking to the guy that is the record holder for Tony Robbins sales. That blows my mind.
Thanks, man. Yeah. And all these years later, it's been interesting. I had a meeting that day for Tony. And I come in, I closed a room and come in there. And so it's kind of back and forth. Now I've got this, but you had 50 clients in your business. And now you've got 1,300 paying monthly. And then you've got another level of mastermind. Mm-hmm. And so you've got these 2 programs. It's been really interesting to see how you've built it out, removing yourself with people and process, other coaches.
Mm-hmm.
You got 2 layers of program, and you pretty much do everything through just like Facebook, social media.
Yep.
Blast it all out there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I actually, one of the claim to fames, one of the things that we're really good at is we get trainers to $10,000 a month without using ads or funnels. And so I built my entire business off of Facebook and Instagram and now TikTok. And so when I say I built my entire business, like I ran the entire coaching program, all the videos were in the Facebook group, everything was in Facebook until we got like 800 clients. And at that point I was like, maybe we should get a website. So after we had 800 clients, then I got a website. But I think the claim to fame and the reason our coaching program is so effective is because we'll teach you how to build a business off of Facebook and Instagram and TikTok without having to build a website. And that's like the simplicity of, like, I'm a very simple person. And like, if something has like a, 10-step process that's elaborate and requires ClickFunnels and code and copy, I'm just like, that's not interesting to me. I want the simplest way to get the result. And like, when we're talking about online coaching, the simplest way to get a result is like, how do I get clients? And how do I make sure those clients get awesome results? And if I can do those 2 things, my business is going to grow.
Yeah. Yeah. The interesting thing about you and you getting here, because I saw there's a lot of people in the online fitness space, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You've been so consistent for so long.
Mm-hmm.
You actually have a gym that you just recently bought.
Yep.
Like you're doing the thing, man. At what point, let's start like to the earlier days, like kind of give us the backstory. And I know a good bit of this, but when you did a training for my people, I was like, what is this guy's morning routine? Like, what is the first thing he does? What does he do at night? Because it was all so tight and you're so consistent, but you're obviously not like a robot. Like I see some people go super like strict mode and they have like no personality. Yeah. And so you've balanced that really well, where it's like, you're obviously disciplined, but you got this structure, but I know that it wasn't always that way. Like,
it was always the opposite, honestly. Like when I was younger, I was the type of person that was like very impulsive and very impulse driven. And so, I was working as a bartender at a nightclub and I was impulse driven. So, drugs would come around and I would do drugs, or my friends would want to drink and I would drink. And I was just always very impulsive. And when I was 23 years old, that impulse driven behavior led me down a path where I just like couldn't stop. So I was, doing substances and doing drugs every single day for 6 months straight. At that point, there was one point where I got fired from my nightclub bartending job. I had got kicked out of my house. I owed the wrong people $10,000. And I kind of like woke up and I looked at my life and I'm like, what am I doing here?
How old were you?
At that point I was 23 years old. I'm 30. Yeah. 30. So yeah. Oh. So 23 years old, I'm like, what am I doing with my life here? Like, I'm obviously like not going anywhere. If I keep going down this path, I'm going to end up in jail or dead. And so that was the point where I started to make a shift. I truly do believe, and this is like for, anybody that's listening, that like, if you're going through a hard time in your life, like that is the starting point. That can be the starting point of something phenomenal, because I didn't have anything to lose at that point. Like I'd already lost everything. So I already lost like the girlfriend. I lost the job, I was flat broke, had no money. I was like, at this point now I can start building. And so I went away. I got away from everyone. I isolated myself. I went to this summer camp and I was actually scrubbing toilets as a cleaner for 3 months. And in that time, in scrubbing toilets as a cleaner, I started to develop better habits. So I would, go to work for 8 hours, scrub toilets as a cleaner, and I'd be listening to success motivation in my ears. And then I'd get off work. I'd go for this like 30-minute run. After the run, I'd sit down and I worked on my vision. And I did this literally every single day, 7 days a week, because I didn't have anything else. Like there was like, the only thing I had was like going for a run and working on the vision. That's literally all I had.
Working on your vision. Unpack that. What does that mean?
So working on my vision, I literally had a Microsoft Word document that was on my computer, and I didn't have internet out at the summer camp that I worked at. So I had Microsoft Word document that was on my computer, and I would write. And when I say I would write, like I had this like vision of like, when I say vision, I had this document that I would read that I'd be like, I live in a, 6,500 square foot mansion with, a garage gym, and it's got, metal music playing, and I own a gym that's 20,000 square feet. It's called Aesthetic Nation. I mentor youth through this gym. I'm a WBFF pro fitness model. I'm a multimillionaire with a successful. So like I wrote this vision down on this Microsoft Word document. And the way that I was getting through my addiction is because like everything in my life was in shambles at the time, and I didn't believe in myself and I didn't have anything. And so the way that I was getting through my hard time was I was like constantly like like visualizing this life that I was going to live, you know? So it was visualization. And so I just kept imagining this life that I was going to create for myself. And that gave me hope. And with that hope, I started building better habits. And first it was vision. And then I started goal setting because I had this idea of where I wanted to go. So I started creating milestones along the way. So I was like, if I want to build a successful online business to like, 1,000 clients, well, I need a couple clients first. So I was like, I'm going to land my next couple clients. And so at first I started documenting. I started documenting my journey. So when I was, and this is good advice for any entrepreneur that's starting, is I just started documenting what I was doing. Like I started, if I was going for a run, I'd be like, going for a run today. If I was eating food, I was like, this is what I'm eating. So I would just document my journey. And then people just started asking questions, and as they would ask questions, I would give them free advice. And I remember the first ever client that paid me money for my online coaching service. I was working as a bartender and somebody came in and they saw that I was really fit. And they were like, hey, could I pay you to do, training and nutrition for me? And I'd never done it before. And I was like, sure. And they were like, how much? And I was like, $200 for 12 weeks. And they were like, done. And I was like, okay. So I wrote them up this like 12-week 12-week meal plan. It took me like 5 to 6 hours and it gave me $200 cash. And I was like, holy shit, like this could be a thing. And that's what gave me the hunger and the desire. And I just started growing from there. And one client turned into 10 clients, turned into 20 clients, turned into $10,000 a month. By 2016, I was making 10K a month. I had 5 trainers that were working for me that were all making a decent amount of money. By 2018, my online fitness business, I had built it to the point where I was making $54,000 a month. And, a year after that, I met you. And I was doing half business coaching, half online training still. And I decided that I wanted to go full-time business coaching. So I folded my fitness coaching business. I started business coaching and now I've been business coaching for 3 years. I do have a multi-million-dollar business. I live in a 6,500 square foot mansion, just like I wrote in my vision. I own a gym that's, it's actually 20,000. I wrote 20,000 square feet in my vision. It's 19,500 square feet. And yeah, a lot of the dreams that I wrote down came to life. So that's the story in a nutshell, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you start out, you get this client and then you're doing fitness coaching and you fall in love with the business side of it. Yeah, because you just didn't want to, I think you said one time, I don't want to just tell people to eat chicken and broccoli the rest of my life.
Yeah. It was a couple of things. It was one, that I actually did get bored of like this is how much food you should eat. And I didn't know how to run a business. I was a fitness coach. And so I had all these trainers that were working for me that were making $10,000 to $15,000 a month. And because I wasn't a businessman, my business was making $54,000 a month. I was only taking 20% of their income, sometimes 10%. So they're making $10,000 a month and I'm mentoring them and coaching them and guiding them. And I'm making 1,000 or 2,000 because I don't know how to properly run my business. And so I was just super burned out because I wasn't making a lot of money and my business was, but I wasn't because I didn't know how to run a business. So that was part of it. I just lost passion after a while, just burnt out, lost passion. And it just wasn't for me anymore.
Yeah. So you had the vision. So we teach this, and I don't know if I've talked to you about this, like the visualization is so important. And, as Einstein said, imagination is more important than intelligence. And so there's this formula me and my buddy Nick work on every year when I work on my goals. It's your goals, which is, there's the be, do, have. What do you want to have? Which are your goals? And all that's in the context of what do you do, which are your habits. So the doing supports the having, and then it's who you be, which are your values. And so it's like the be, do, have. In order to have this, what do I have to do? But in order to do the things in the right way, it's who do I have to be? And so you going into the being, and then there's the visualization and emotion. So it's like your life is your goals, your habits, your values, who you are, times, because 2 people can have the same habits, go to the gym, have the same script, everything, have the same goal, all that, but based on who they are and their capacity to visualize and put emotion into it, absolutely key. And so we need to have this goal, but it's got to be real, like inside, not just outside in, inside out. And so, and then putting it all together, how you've shown up, like you got this first client and how you show up online. It's amazing. You do a podcast 5 days a week. You are always in your Facebook group daily. You do these long form Facebook posts. I'm like, how does this dude have time? You have so much energy. And as a fitness coach, when I was a fitness coach for a while and I got shredded, but I was doing like massive cutting. I was tired all the time. I was sore and tired. I felt dehydrated all the time. You're working out, you're writing like amazing. You're on video, you do podcasts daily. Like that's, I think a lot of what helps you sell is just who you are. You're like consistent, energetic, you're doing the thing, and you're obviously fit. Like, how do you have discipline for that? Do you systematize that? Do you have bad days? Like, do you get off sometimes? How do you stay at that place? Because it is very attractive. That's what's helped you become so successful in this business. It's who you're being, not just what you do. When you're doing the right things, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's so I think it's a couple things. So I don't want anyone to take offense to what I'm about to say because this is just my truth. Number one is I just never miss. Like when it comes to like my morning ritual, when it comes to my daily habits, when it comes to, you know, my the things that I know are going to help my mindset on a daily basis, like meditation, gratitude, affirmations, I never miss. Like I truly do. Like I'm not saying that to like brag or anything. I just don't. Like in the last like 3-5 years, there's been a 1 week period that I fell off my morning routine, and it was my best friend's bachelor party, and it was the worst week of my life. So I'll never do that again because I was drunk for 3 days straight, and it was atrocious for my mindset. So I just never miss on my mindset. And some people might think that like, isn't that like unhealthy? Like, do you ever take days off, et cetera? I do take days off, like for, you know, in terms of like work. But when it comes to like my mindset, like depression doesn't take a day off. Yeah. Anxiety doesn't take a day off. Like anxiety is not just going to chill on you because it's like you want to take Sunday off. And so because I'm aware that like I have, you know, parts of my mind that refuse to rest, like depression, anxiety, et cetera, I just always stay ahead of the game and I never miss on those things. And I don't have any excuse for that whatsoever. There's nothing that's acceptable. Dead in the hospital, like unless I'm dead or in the hospital, I do it. And that's like I've had COVID before, been going through major breakups, all of it. And I still never miss. So number one, it's like having this like mentality that like, no matter what's happening in my life, that's not an excuse to like slack on my mindset. So that's number one. And number two, it's like no excuse for canceling either on yourself. And so at full transparency right now in my life right now, like with everything that's going on in Canada, which we won't get too into this because we only have 30 minutes, but Canada's crazy. And I'm in a fight to open up my gym and like exercise and like open it for my members. And that fight takes up like a lot of my mental energy.
Mental bandwidth, yeah.
While still having to be a good husband to my wife, while still having to show up for podcasts, while still having to run my coaching business. And of course that's stressful, but like, I think that a lot of people, what happens is when they're dealing with stress. So the answer, do I have bad days? Yes, I do. When they're dealing with stress, they use that stress as a reason to not do the things that they need to do in order to be successful. But in the last 2.5 years, Eli, like I've gone live 5 times a week, every single week for like, we're talking like 120 weeks straight. Because like, that's what it takes to be successful. And that momentum compounded over time is why my business continues to thrive and continues to grow, is because I don't miss, is because yes, I have bad days. Yes, there's days that I don't want to show up. Yes, there's days that like, I literally feel like curling up in bed and going back to bed and retreating. And the reason I asked not to take offense is because I'm aware that some people that are listening to this might struggle with their mental health. And they're like, that's impossible for me to do. And I'm not asking you to do it, but I'm telling you, like, that's the thing that made me personally successful is I just don't miss. No excuse. No excuse is acceptable to me, period.
What's the first thing you do when you get up?
So right now I actually changed it up. So I was doing 10 minutes of gratitude, 10 minutes of affirmations, and then 10 minutes of visualizations. But I've recently changed it up where I wake up, I get out of bed, I put my shoes on and I go to the gym. So wake up, go to the gym, hour-long workout, plugging my headphones, just fully focused. And then I get home, I do visualizations, affirmations, and meditations. So I do 10, 10, 10. My morning ritual, just for everybody that's listening, is 10 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of visualization, 10 minutes of gratitude. That's my morning ritual. I do 10, 10, 10. I think all of them are equally as important. And while I'm doing...
Visualization, affirmation, meditation.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that while I'm doing these things, like as an example, during affirmations, I can listen to, I'll listen to some like success motivation while I'm doing my affirmations. While I'm doing my gratitude, sometimes I'll listen to like some chill, relaxing, calm music so I can get myself into like the feeling of like feeling grateful. And then meditations, if I need to, I'll listen to like a guided meditation on YouTube. So it's not like it has to be like I'm in silence doing all these things. Like I can feel good while I do them as long as I do them consistently. But 10 minutes meditation, 10 minutes of gratitude, 10 minutes of visualization every day.
And evening routine, anything special there?
Evening routine, no. I just have a rule where I try not to be in my phone for the last 2 hours of the day because my brain will just, and if my brain's going crazy, then it's hard for me to go to sleep.
What time do you go to bed?
I go to bed around 8 because I'm up. Yeah. Well, I'm up at 3:45 in the morning.
3:45.
3:45 every morning. Yep.
Oh, it's that's one way to avoid the party nightlife is just sleep right through it.
Exactly. And it's also like, that's a way to get ahead of the game because I'm up and I do like a full days of work by the time most people are opening up their eyes at 7 o'clock, 8 in the morning. Like I'm already like 3 steps ahead. And I like that. Like that gives me a feeling of having a slight edge, which like just, I feel like it gives me an edge on life. Like I'm already 3 steps ahead by the time you open up your eyes.
Yeah. What keeps you going? You have all the success now. I mean, you've blown this thing up. The Facebook group, your people, your team. Like, what drives you now at this point?
My main driving force, honestly, is impact. Like, I want to change more people's lives. Like I get like when I have another trainer that costs $10,000 a month, or when I have a coach that joins the $1 million mastermind and makes 100,000, or I have just like coaches that have breakthroughs. Like I have a coach that came to my event recently and stood up in front of everyone and told everyone that he was going to quit his job. And then a week later, he messaged me telling me he's quit his job and he was like walking out and it was his last day. And he's like building a dream, his life that he's passionate about. So that's what drives me now. Like my community now at PT Domination, I feel like when I first started, I was really driven by the amount of money that we were making. But now it's like, it's so much different than that because there's so many people that are like having like life-changing transformations. And I feel like now it's a responsibility to continue leading because I know that there are so many people following me. And it's like, I know that there are people looking to me for an example. Like I know that there are certain people that tune into my podcast every single day because they know it's going to be there. And so I feel like I have an obligation. I have a responsibility to serve. So that's that. I also have a big vision, Eli. So a lot of the things that I've like said I was going to do in my life, I've accomplished. And because I know that I can accomplish things, I want to do more. Like I just want to have a bigger impact. I want my life to like represent what's possible. Because I came from a background where like my mom had me when she was 17. I did not meet my dad until I was 26 years old. We moved around from house to house to house to house in Calgary. Lived in a trailer park most of my life, like was told money doesn't grow on trees. I felt like I was never really good at anything. Like I felt like I was like always last to pick for sports and I was just always the outcast. I'm the only black, like dark skinned member of my family. And so my entire life, I felt like I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't worthy, that I didn't have enough. And now to be living the life that I'm living now, like married to my dream partner, like pro fitness model, just won another fitness competition, making an impact on Canada right now with the Free BC movement. Like I feel like I'm like making an impact on Canada, leading PT Domination. Like I just feel like I want my life to represent what's possible, you know? And so I want to continue to push myself and push my limits and like really like get to the edge of my comfort zone and continue to grow, to inspire other people to just reach for higher and reach for more. Cause I think a lot of people settle and I just like, I don't think they have to.
Yeah. What is that next vision for you? Cause you hit pretty much everything on your list, it sounds like. I mean, you have enough money too, where you could retire if you wanted to, you know, contract, but you're not going to. Yeah. So what is that next vision? So that's going to inspire you to have a target. What's that next target for you?
So the next target for the business is to have 5,000 members in the 10K Coaching Academy. So that's the next target for the business. I also want to have 500 students over $10,000 a month. Right now we're at 216. So that's that. I also feel, and I'm going to be vulnerable here, I also feel like there's like a deeper calling that I'm not 100% sure what it is yet, but I can feel it because with all this stuff that's happening in Canada and this Free BC movement, I feel like more passionate about that than I felt about anything in a long time. So I feel like there's a deeper calling and I don't know what it is yet, but I can feel this like part of me that's waking up and I don't exactly know. But in terms of PT Domination, I want to get to 1,000 podcast episodes. Right now we're at 616. And honestly, Eli, I get a high off of when students message me telling me that like, you know, a podcast I did change their life, or the 10K Academy changed your life, or the Change Lives Academy changed your life. Like that's what really drives me. So I just want to create more of that. Like that to me is like, that's what gets me up every single day.
It's amazing. I think, I know I'd done a sales training for you. Did I mention any of that spiral dynamic stuff?
I don't know. Which, by the way, really quick, if I think you should come back and do a sales training in the academy or something like that.
Yeah, I got some, it's like, so I doing all the sales stuff for me, like yourself, bigger calling. I did basically one presentation.
Yeah.
3,400 times for Tony. And, there's like a point where things got really boring for me, as they do for any business. It's like, there's the part where it should be business, it should be boring, because business shouldn't always be ups and downs and all of that. There's got to be a consistency. Even at Google, they have people that they label them rock stars or superstars. Like a rock star is somebody solid, superstar is like whatever. And I like being a superstar, but not having, so I had like this solid presentation, but I added things to it. And I think we all get bored at sometimes. For me, this framework, I'll do it, but I've gone a lot deeper in what we do. There's this framework that Tony teaches by Claire Graves called Spiral Dynamics. And it's on these 8 levels of consciousness. And I think of it so much now. And so there's like, at the base level, there's survival. And we realized a long time ago that if we wanted to survive better, we could get in tribes. So the second level of consciousness is this like tribes. And then level 3 is tribal leader, like your internal power god, like ego, like I want to do it my way. I don't want to just be one of the group. It's like, it's more conscious to want to lead. And then there's this, if we're all at level 3 with this power god, we just do whatever we want. So level 4 was born, which is like rules and system and discipline and structure. And then level 5 is personal success. So I'm gonna pause there, because most marketing in the success industry is geared towards personal success. But there's 2 ways we can go, up or down. So there's personal success. And what happens for a lot of people when they are truly successful, they get to success because that's what's marketed, that's been their focus. But if it's not based in a solid 4, discipline and structure, they lose the success. Or somebody gets successful for a long time, and then they go to the next level, which is level 6, which is societally conscious. They're like, hey, I got all this money, but then they start doing yoga. They start, building schools in Africa. They become more societally conscious. And so most people, like, we gear all the marketing, especially in the 80s, it was all about success and money.
You give me chills.
I see people on these sales calls in life, and they've got a solid 5, but they don't have discipline or rules, or they have a weak 3, like they don't have that ego power. You do need to have this. Dr. John DeMartini calls it this narcissistic quotient. All successful people have it. They have a sense of ego. They're like, this is who I am. And they claim it. And then some people have a weak 2, which is tribe. Like if somebody doesn't have a good tribe to support them, that's why your group's so awesome. Like their original tribe is our parents. If you don't have a good tribe, then you're out sleeping around doing drugs because you're looking for connection, no tribe. Or level 1 is off. And that's survival, where somebody had trauma in their body as a child and they don't feel safe in their own skin. And that's creating a cascade of hormones and all of that. And so when we have, coaching clients and have people, they're geared towards success, but sometimes they need to go deeper. And that's where the real impact can be made in the foundation of a human being. And so you've created this tribe where people can share ideas, and it's all about success. But I think those deeper levels of impact are key. And it's so cool that you're working with fitness people, because they realize they got to be healthy, got to be a billboard. You're obviously doing that because you have so many things going on. You go to the gym. Do you do your morning routine 7 days a week?
Can I pause you for a second there? Yeah, you just blew my mind and gave me chills.
So I want to give you some context. This might
literally just blew my mind, gave me chills, and then rolled on to the next question. I want to go back for a second because that was like insane. That is super cool. I love that you just said that. And I think that there's, it's so funny because when we're talking about success, there's so many different layers that like even the tribal leader thing, like one of the things we talk about is like being able to step into your power. So I feel like that is like really stepping into your power and owning that. So that's the tribal leader thing. And then there's the tribe, and the tribe for me, I feel like is like the community. It's the community at large. And like one of the things that we do at the 10K Coaching Academy is we give them the community and the support and the guide and the feedback and like, et cetera. And then the level beneath that is when you're talking about like unpacking your own stuff, like survival. Like if you've got trauma inside of your body, or you've got some sort of things inside of your mind and your emotions that hold you back, like it's going to be really hard to get successful. So love the whole thing that you just broke down. I feel like you just like shattered my reality. Like I feel like you just took so many of the things that I believe in and just systematized it and step by step it. So that was,
it makes sense. And when I remember, and I got this one line from Taki He says you can have guesswork, hard work, or a framework. And so there's times where we're just guessing when you're new.
Yeah.
And then you have, hard work where you got to figure some things out. And then there's a framework. And sometimes that framework does not yet exist. And so it's like, and I love the line from Steve Jobs. He says, you can't connect the dots moving forward. You can only connect them backwards.
Moving backwards. And so, I love that line too. Yeah.
And it's been interesting because you obviously, we have the same coach in Taki, attract, convert, deliver. And it kind of gives you these buckets. Yeah. But your methodology on how you get people to, you had a lot of guesswork, you had a lot of hard work, and you've created some of your frameworks because it's unique in how you're able to enroll people, how you're able to create a culture for this academy and success, consistent wins. You show up on your free stuff and your paid stuff more than anybody. Like you show up inside of your group.
Always.
It's really cool to see that level of connection and intimacy you have with such a large group. Most people don't have that in the coaching programs that I'm in.
It's because most people are really good marketers and really good salespeople, but they're not very good at delivery and fulfillment. And that to me is like, I actually started the opposite. So when I started my coaching business, like the reason that my fitness business grew to $54,000 a month is because I was really good at delivery. It's like sales and marketing, I was like decent at, but like the delivery was like where I was really good. And so like just serving your clients and making sure that they feel seen and heard and loved and appreciated. And that's something that we teach inside of our academy as well, as like how to serve. Because it's like at the end of the day, like you can sell and market to everybody. But like if you sell and market to 30 clients a month, or let's say 20 clients a month, and then it's a 12-week program. And at the end of that 12 weeks, all 20 of those clients leave. You're just doing the same thing over and over again. But if you can sell 20 clients a month and then keep 15 of those clients at the 12-week mark, it's like your business is just going to continue to grow. So I think that a lot of business coaches and marketers and people in general that are in business are really, really good at, marketing and selling, but like you can't just view a business in the sense of like marketing and selling. Like you have to think about the entire customer journey. I did a training on this in the $1 Million Mastermind. So if my $1 Million Mastermind students are listening, they'll know what I'm talking about. But the customer journey is like when you take somebody who is a complete stranger on the internet, like they've never heard about you before, to they're in your cold audience. Like that's step one. And that's what Facebook marketers do, right? They throw a Facebook app in front of you and they're like, do you want to make $10,000 in the next 30 days? Complete stranger to cold audience. The next stage of the customer journey is when you go from a cold audience to a warm audience. And again, sales and marketers are really good at that, is like, warming people up. And then you go from warm audience to booked appointment, or warm audience / hot audience to booked appointment. Then from booked appointment to sale made. And that's where most people stop. Sale made, here's the course, enjoy the Facebook group, have fun. But for me, I think there's 2 more stages, right? So the next stage is sale made to raving fan. Once you make the sale, what happens then? You have to turn that person into a raving fan. And then you've got a raving fan, and that's really cool. But sometimes you can have people that love your program, Eli, and they still leave. Yeah. Why? Because you haven't turned them into a lifetime client. So now you need to take that raving fan and turn them into a lifetime client. Well, how do you do that? You change their life on such a deep fucking level that they're literally never the same person because they worked with you. Right. And so I think that most people focus specifically on how do I get clients into my program and how do I sell them? And then that's it. That's where it ends. But it's like, that's where it starts. And I think that's why the businesses continue to grow. Because for me, that's where it starts. And that's why I continue to show up for my free group, for my free audience every single day, for my community every single day, because I know that if I can take that person and I can deeply impact their life on a way that they'll never be the same person, then that's not going to be a raving fan. That's going to be a lifetime client.
Amazing. Yeah, I can feel your energy. And it's interesting to watch you here. When I watch speakers now and rate them, there's some people are like doing a presentation and their main focus is the presentation. Or somebody's doing a presentation and their main focus is themselves. I've done this and that, and they're kind of here behind their eyes. They're like, they're in here. And then some people, their presentation, the focus is you. It's like the whole thing that you're doing. And that's where it should be, obviously. When people present, they're self-conscious, conscious of themselves, or they're in love with their content, or they're trying to get the presentation right. And they're kind of missing it. And so I think coaching programs are like that as well, where the guru shows up on the social media and, hey, we've got an event coming up with 20,000 people and we've done all the things and we're making all the money in the Lamborghinis and all the stuff. And then there's like, hey, we have the best content, best process. And then it's like, when you can turn that to make it all about the people, it's not just a scripted thing. It's like a conceptual, like energetic thing. And I think that's what really lands for people. Yeah, that's helping me get it on a whole different level.
It's funny. I talked about this on a podcast the other day, and I said, there's so many people are focused on making more money, right? They want to make more money. And that this is a Tony Robbins thing too. So I feel like it resonates, but it's a different language. The only way to make more money is to serve more people.
Yeah.
Because the people are the ones that are paying you the money. So everyone that's focused on making money is focusing on marketing and selling, et cetera. But it's like, if you really want to get to like the highest level of income, then you need to make sure that your service impacts somebody on such a deep level and serves them on such a deep level that they couldn't imagine their life without your program. And that is how you make money consistently. And Tony Robbins says it in a different way. He says, the secret to living is giving, right? And it's like, that's different language, but it's the same concept. It's like, if you want to get, you need to serve.
Yeah.
You need to serve.
Yeah. It's such a beautiful concept because the person's content might actually not change that much, but the intentionality, like the energy and the care of the program. And it just makes you feel better as a coach, as a leader, as for what you're doing. It's a huge thing, but I think we all get lost in that sometimes too, getting out content, all of that. At least I do. Falling in love with linguistics and scripts and all that stuff. I geek out, and sometimes I've lost lost focus on what's important. So
I love that.
Great reminder for me. Is there any question that I haven't asked you that I should have asked you as it relates to influence and just making a mark in the world?
I think if you're listening to this right now and you have a desire to do more, then you need to demand more of yourself. I think that's it. I think it's demanding more of yourself. It's not letting yourself sleep in. It's not letting yourself make excuses. It's not letting yourself miss out on goal setting. It's not letting yourself make the excuse of why you're not hiring the mentor. It's like, you have to demand more of yourself. I think that so many people want things. They want a bigger life. They want the car. They want the money. They want the business, but it's like, they're just allowing themselves to behave with mediocrity, like sleeping in and making excuses and binge watching TV series. Like, you can't say that you want something and say it out loud and vocalize that, and then at the same time be doing things that are completely counterintuitive. It's like the person that says that they want to lose weight while they've got McDonald's in their head, right? Like, you can't do that. Like, if you want a better life for yourself, you need to demand more of yourself, and you need to ask yourself to dig deeper and not make excuses. And that's going to be fucking hard. Yeah. It really is. It's going to be challenging. There's going to be days that you don't want to get out of bed, that you'd rather retreat, that you'd rather cancel. But if you want to be successful, success is made on those days that you don't want to do the thing, and you show up. And not only do you show up, but you show up and you execute on a high level. And that's what it takes to be successful.
Boom. 3:45 is a little bit early for me, but I'll be getting.
Find your time though. If you're waking up at 7, wake up at 6, because with that extra hour, you could be mentally clear. And by the time 7 o'clock comes around, instead of, you would usually just be getting out of bed. Now you're mentally sharp and you're ready to attack the day. Right?
You are sharp, my friend. I appreciate you. For everybody here, we're going to have show notes. Make sure you pay attention to those. Brian, where can people find out more about you, your programs? Where are you at? How do they get involved in the Brian universe?
So if you want to hear more about me and what I do, if you want to guys follow the podcast, would be the number one thing. It's the Change Lives, Make Money Online Trainer podcast. We've got over 600 episodes packed with value. I try to deliver as much as I possibly can. And if you want to find me on social media, it's at BMarkFit or at The Real Brian Mark. Those are my 2 Instagram accounts.
Boom. And I follow both. So awesome. Cool. Appreciate you, buddy. Hope this was powerful for everybody here listening. And we will see you on the next episode. Much love.